Everybody has their paper out? There's actually 2 questions for the warm-up today. First one, are there any foods that are 100% American? So come up with that if you think that there's any foods that are 100% American. We're not talking about packaged foods like Oreos or Twinkies. Maybe like hamburger, cheeseburger, pizza. Try to write that down. And then what are some foods that we have in America that aren't American? Write this down. You have 2 minutes. Yes. Okay. You can write that down. That's up to you. Ben, which questions?
When you say write down foods that are American, do you mean like origins are in America?
Yes.
Or just
Yes.
the
Origins that are
The
American.
origins are in America.
Just try to write something down.
Steak.
Try to write it down. You have 2 minutes. This is individual. Then we'll go over it. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to answer. Might need to put your thinking cap on. This one could be tough. Could be tough. I actually need to have that warm up. Oh, by the way, 3rd period ended up getting 35 points today. So it's up to you. I think that's the most I've given out in a while.
Yeah.
But you were already ahead of them, so it's up to you how many points you want to get. Have 1 more minute. All right, thumbs up if you're finished. All right, we're going to go ahead and start, and if you're not finished, it's okay. So who wants to answer? I'll wait till Margaret gets done. Go ahead. All right, who wants to answer the first question? Are there any foods that are 100% American? Ooh, Mr. G. Who should we pick?
I was going to start with Christian over there.
Okay.
Well, hot dogs is my first one, and some guy went to McDonald's and bought a bunch of McDonald's stuff and made a huge sandwich out of it a couple while back. Would that count?
Hot dogs wouldn't count. And the reason, I think Mr. G and I are going to say the same thing. Hot dogs actually come from sausages like bratwurst, and that's in Germany. Okay. Jacob.
I got cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger.
And then I got a fortune cookie.
Okay. Fortune cookie actually comes from China. They do have them there, I promise. And cheeseburger, hamburgers actually come from France. Okay? And where does cheese come from? Anybody know where cheese comes from?
Europe.
Europe, so cheeseburger doesn't count either. Ooh.
Cheeseburger.
Chanel.
Grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese.
Cheese
Cheese from Europe.
Oh.
Hold on, make sure you're raising your hand, make sure you're quiet. Joseph.
Steak?
Nope, steak comes from Europe as well.
We're going to talk about cows coming from Europe.
Jacob.
Peanut butter jelly? I'm trying to think about peanut butter jelly.
I would say no. Because think of all the different desserts in Europe as well.
Grapes are from
Yep, grapes are from Africa.
Grapes are from Africa and Middle East.
And then peanuts are from South America. So nope, that doesn't count either. Ooh, Edwin.
Pizza?
Pizza comes from Italy. Margaret.
Okay, I have a quick question for you.
Okay.
If like if I say cheeseburger and it's not what it is, do you say do I have to cross it out?
No, you don't have to cross it out. It's okay.
Okay.
Ooh, we have a lot of hands. Go ahead.
Hershey's. Okay. Hershey's?
Well, we're talking about not packaged food.
Oh. Okay. Where is it? Oh, American cheese?
No, because cheese comes from Europe. Even though it has American. No.
No.
call on 2 more people. Ooh, Lindley's about to die over there. Go ahead. Ham?
Nope.
Nope.
Pork's from Europe.
From Europe?
From Europe.
Who's the last one? Everyone's like, oh.
I don't hear from Max very often.
Okay.
Waffles.
Waffles come from Belgium. Why should you know this?
I don't know.
Maybe we should call a couple more. Hold on. Make sure you're raising your hand quietly. Elizabeth.
I have one for not American.
Oh, not for not. Hold on a second. Anyone more for American? Megan.
Peaches?
Tropical fruits. I would think that it probably comes from the Caribbean.
I would
We'll have to look it up. We'll have to
You
look
can
it
go
up.
look up.
Olivia. Mac and cheese? I would say no because pasta comes from Italy and cheese comes from Europe. So the answer to this one is what?
Okay,
What's the answer?
I have one.
One. What is it?
Okay, you know ice cream cones. They were made at the St. Louis Fair in the 1700s, right? Waffles come from Belgium, but, in a bakery a few years later, they made it out of another material and they made the first ice cream cone, which was the first made in America.
In America, but waffles come from Belgium, so they
But it
still
wasn't
took
made
it
out
from
of
there.
waffles.
Right, but they took the idea from there. Oh.
I have one.
So, Christian,
Fried chicken.
chicken does not come from the United States. I would say, this is
India.
what I would say. Fried chicken, that is close. I've had other classes say that, but I say chicken comes from Europe. But the fried part, that is true. Americans do that, and Jamaicans, and that's in the Caribbean. So you're like halfway.
Yeah, you're
So it's
getting
not
closer.
100%. You're getting closer.
Getting closer.
French fries on the call.
Corn.
Orange?
Nope.
I mean,
We're
we're getting closer.
We're getting close.
We're
But
getting close.
listen. But listen.
Central America.
The question was, are there any foods that are 100% American? The answer is no.
What?
There's no foods that are 100% American. Yes.
Oh,
We did. I have two.
Hold on a second. Let Margaret talk. She's the one who raised her hand.
I have two.
Okay.
Crawfish.
I think they're Louisiana. I mean,
Louisiana.
the
Yeah.
animal's there, yeah. That might
I
count.
got one. Okay. And
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. The other one, cake.
That's
European.
Good.
All right.
In many ways, it's a trick question, okay? Because there's some foods, like some animals and some beans and things that are from America, but we are so mixed now that most of the foods you think of aren't from here. It's kind of a trick question. That's what we're talking about.
Right. It's
today.
kind of a trick question. Let's go to the next question. What are some foods that we have in America that aren't American? Some of you have named them. What we want you to do is see if you can answer this and then tell us maybe where you think it's from. Elizabeth.
I have two, but one of them is schnitzel. My father and I make it a lot together. It's from Germany.
It's from Germany. Okay.
Oh, and
AK. Oh, sorry. Let Elizabeth finish. Sorry, Elizabeth.
And my other one was, Alfredo.
Alfredo sauce. And that comes from
That comes from Italy.
Italy. All right, AK.
I got you. I have kefte, which is like a little, it's sort of like a hamburger, but you eat it just how it's like a fried, and it comes from Turkey. And I have a little Russian dumpling, it's called pyramid. It comes from Russia.
Aaron.
Ravioli and tortellini, which comes from
Italy. So good. Edwin.
Tamale?
Yes, tamales are my favorite. Do you like them super spicy?
Yeah.
I like super spicy. I could eat Mexican food every day. Oh,
I could
so good.
too.
All right, 2 more people because then we do have to move on. Let's see, Megan.
Peaches and they come from China.
You looked?
Did you look it up? Oh, learn something new. Did you know ice cream? I actually learned this
I
today.
learned that.
Ice cream comes from China as well. I did not know that. Found that out today. All right, I'll let you pick the last one. And I'll
Olivia.
All right, French toast.
What about French fries?
What's your question?
Do burritos come from Mexico?
Yes. Who
And
said French fries? Okay, French fries, they come from France. They call over there they're called pommes frites. And what they do is, for example, they do this in France too, but when I lived in Belgium, you can go up on the side of the road where they have the food trucks and you can go get them and they put it in a big paper cone and they put the fries in there. They're just fries. And then this is really gross. Instead of using ketchup and mustard, a lot of times the majority of the people put a huge chunk of mayonnaise on it. Some people like mayonnaise, I don't. So whenever I asked, I said no mayo. Can I have it with ketchup instead? But a huge blob.
But Christian, the idea of French fries might come from France, but without the potato coming from South America,
We wouldn't
we
have.
wouldn't even have it. And what we're going to talk about today is it doesn't just go one way to America. Most of the foods you all name 400, 500 years ago were probably very, very different. Even foods that you can find in America were very, very different than they are today because of what we're going to talk about
today, which is
today.
right, and we'll talk about that in a minute, which is called the Columbian Exchange. So what I want you to do is hold, unless you have questions, we can answer them, but we do need to move on to the brain pot that we have. Any questions before we move on?
I
Yes.
had ribs. Where that come from?
Ribs, both cows and pigs are from Europe. So unless you had like bison ribs. I think bison's made
that's
from
what I
those
was
too.
gonna say.
Make sure you raise your hand. Do you have a question or a comment? We just answered the warm-up. No, we gotta move on.
We're going to move on now.
What's your question?
Okay, so my dad eats a lot of great food. He's like our food dad, Andrew Liver. Would crocodile and alligator, wouldn't that be from like Louisiana and like
A lot of them are originated in Africa.
Yeah.
They
Oh
have
yeah,
some.
container wrestling.
Right. Let's get wrestling. Let me add some points because I haven't done that yet. Gabby, last one, then we're gonna do brain pop.
Would squirrel be American?
It would, but there are actually squirrels found all over the world, but
Yes.
people don't really eat squirrel. So one of my other classes said raccoon, and I was like,
You eat raccoon?
people eat raccoon. Usually they hit them with their cars first.
All right.
No,
All right, Margaret.
joke's
Last question, then we do have to move on. Go ahead.
It's a quick one. Okay. Oh, what is snails from America? Like
Escargots, France.
it
It's a
is.
French delicacy.
French delicacy.
Is those eggs the caramel?
Fish eggs.
Yeah, isn't that from
It originated in France. It's a delicacy.
What's it called?
Caviar.
Okay, we are going to watch a brain pop that's going to introduce about the Columbian Exchange. Some of you guys might already know about it, and that's fine. Just make sure you pay attention, and then after we do the brain pop, we have 2 activities to do. So hopefully we get to do both of them today. So just make sure you pay attention.
If you sit down, please.
Whoa, space alien. Hey, I think he's friendly. Dear Terry Moby, how did the Columbian Exchange affect life in the Americas and around the world? From Shannon. That's a great question, and historians are still working out the answers. Here's what we know. Before Christopher Columbus's arrival in 1492, there were anywhere between 50 and 100 million people living in the Americas. These pre-Columbian civilizations were diverse and highly complex. In the South, there were cities whose size and architecture rivaled the great European capitals. In the North, some people enjoyed more political freedom than in Europe's most democratic nations. But after Columbus's voyage, everything began to change. Within a few hundred years, Europeans laid claim to the Americas and much of the rest of the world. Native populations shrank to a tiny fraction of their original size. Those who were left found themselves greatly outnumbered, living in a land they no longer controlled. How did such advanced populous societies lose so much so quickly? And how did Europe rise to global dominance within such a short period? According to many historians, the answers to both questions can be found in the Columbian Exchange. That was the centuries-long swap of cultures, people, ideas, plants, animals, and even diseases that began in 1492. Before that date, Europe and the Americas might as well have been on different planets, thanks to the vast ocean separating them. But suddenly, there were ships traveling back and forth, carrying people, crops, and livestock to places they had never been before. Life changed almost immediately for the native people, as countries like Spain, Portugal, England, and France quickly set up colonies throughout the New World. That's true, the Europeans had guns, horses, and advanced military tactics. But that doesn't explain how they were able to take over so quickly. As it turns out, their deadliest weapons were microscopic. Diseases like smallpox, the flu, malaria, and yellow fever were carried over the ocean by their European hosts. Native people had no natural defenses against these new germs. They got sick by the millions in what is now called the Great Dying. Smallpox was especially devastating, wiping out entire civilizations. Wherever contact was made, native people died off, making it that much easier for Europeans to gain a foothold. Yeah, and from Mexico to South America, many natives were enslaved and forced to mine for gold and silver. The Spanish and Portuguese sent these metals by the boatload back to Europe. But they also brought back edible treasures. Europeans had never seen crops like potatoes, corn, and cassava before. These high-energy foods grew well in tough conditions, helping people survive famines and live longer. As a result, populations in Europe and Africa swelled at the same time that they were plummeting in the Americas. This helped fuel the migration of millions of people to the New World. Meanwhile, newly discovered cash crops like tobacco, vanilla, and cocoa enriched Europe even more. Oh, no, stuff moved in the other direction too. Religion was one of the first exports to the New World. Missionaries converted thousands of native people to Christianity, occasionally by force. But since it was illegal to enslave Christians, Native Americans often converted on their own just to keep themselves free. That's true. Native Americans didn't just passively react to the changes going on all around them. In North America, the Plains Indians took advantage of European horses, radically altering their own culture. That kind of adaptation was repeated throughout the Americas with metal cookware, guns, and wheeled vehicles. Native people also benefited from newly introduced crops, like wheat. Oh yeah, the Europeans brought tons of new crops to the Americas, including wheat, rice, oranges, bananas, apples, and coffee. The Caribbean islands had ideal growing conditions for sugarcane, a hugely profitable cash crop. This was the beginning of the world's ongoing obsession with sugar. But besides the health effects, there was an ugly side to the sugar trade. Like most cash crops, it relied on slave labor. Thousands of Indians worked and died in the cruelest conditions. When their populations declined, Africans were brought in as replacement workers. This was the beginning of the Atlantic slave trade, in which more than 12 million Africans were sold into slavery. You're right, in many ways, it is a terrible history, and it's natural to get sad or even angry when you hear about it. But it's important to remember that this story isn't over. The Columbian Exchange permanently connected the two hemispheres through trade. Today, we benefit more than ever from these trade lines. Raw materials and finished products are whisked around the world in every direction, connecting people on every continent. Right, that's a key point too. Native Americans didn't die out. Millions of people with Indian ancestry still live among us. Of these, the majority have mixed ethnicities with ancestors from Europe, Africa, or both. Many of them identify with multiple cultures and are proud of their mixed heritage. Yeah, maybe we can learn from their example. Even if the history of the Columbian Exchange is troubling, it's part of who we are. Our music, foods, languages, and even our attitudes about the world all have some roots in this blending of worlds. Oh man, how are we going to clean all this? Oh. Well, darn.
Okay, that was just an introduction to Columbian Exchange. What I need you to do, you are all sitting in groups, even you four gentlemen right here are a group. So what you need to do is However many people are in your group, you need to count off. I don't care what order, so you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. If there's 5, someone needs to be a 5. So go ahead and do that groups right now and decide who's going to be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Okay, did you figure it out?
Yes.
Okay, who's number 2? Raise your hand loud and proud. Raise your hand. Okay, number 2. So everyone else besides number 2, look at number 2, please. Put your hands up like this. We're going to give number 2 a shout out. So look at number 2, and you're going to go 2, 2, raise the roof. 2, 2, raise the roof. Okay, number 2, come up here, please. You're going to get papers for your group. Tell me how many is in your group. You have 4. You guys have 4. How many do you guys have? 4. 1, 2.
What number were you, Essence?
3.
Essence, what number were you?
3.
Yeah, 2.
I have 4. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I turned.
Thumbs up once everyone in your group has a sheet. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Once everyone has your Columbian Exchange reading sheet. You can go ahead and put your name on it if you would like. This is yours to keep. You are actually sitting in groups, and there's a reading sheet in front of you that has 3 questions at the bottom. This is a guided reading. So just the fact that you are in groups, someone raise your hand and tell me what you think that we are doing today. Let's see, Elizabeth.
We're going to read the passage and then answer the question.
Right, in your groups, and you're sitting together. You can do this a couple of different ways. You can get one person to read the entire reading out loud, and you can answer the questions together. Or if you want to popcorn, and one person reads one paragraph, someone else reads another paragraph, and answer the questions together. There's only 3 questions. What is a strategy that you should do before you even start reading, that you should probably do on the milestone test that we talked to you about? Gabby. Well, highlight's one of them. There's something else.
What do you do before the
you
reading?
even highlight, before you even read? Sydney.
You read the questions.
Right, you read the questions so you already know what you're looking for. Mr. G and I are going to give you 10 minutes. I promise that is enough time. That's what I've been doing all class today. It's worked really well. And then we're going to go over this. And then we have one more activity after we do the guided reading. Sound good? I'm going to put a timer up there. All right? On your mark, set, go.
Okay.
She's reading. Are you popcorn? Yeah, you can take turns. You guys popcorn?
Human population, slaves.
Can you guys hear okay since you're in the line? Okay, because I was going to say if you wanted to, I know there's only 3 desks up there, but if you wanted to stand up, you can stand up. Well, there's not a lot of room. If you wanted to stand up over there, you could do it if you wanted to like in a circle.
Many different goods.
It's up to you.
Exchange.
If you don't mind standing up, then would you want to have? They're standing up over there.
Who wants to read this section here? Okay, guys. Yeah, we're preparing that. I'm good at it.
You want to use them? I haven't gotten through it as
I mean, I can.
How about the sheets after I tell them anymore? I don't know if that's how.
Yeah. We look it up.
I see a lot of good highlighting going on this
I know, I do too. I see a lot of good underlining as well.
What was your exchange?
And you should have from the brain pop.
I know, it's great.
I like that brain pop.
Is it a good one? Yeah.
Probably do that more often. Just to see.
Well, I actually like the quizzes that go after it.
Yeah, I did too. I did it with second grade today with 10 questions.
One of the other things I want to start playing around with is you can take the brain pop videos, and there's a feature in there that you can like take out clips of vocab words, and you can make your own timelines and things like that with it.
I'm wondering, since I have to have a username and password, can I post it on a note when they watch it?
With SIOP, she sent out all the information and create your own teacher page with it.
Oh, there you go.
But I don't remember that you have to ask that to it. But it's pretty cool because you can watch the videos and you can play clips of it, you can start it, stop it, just pull out the special vocab words that they have listed. And you
Because
can
that's the
make,
ones I like listening to, so like Colombian.
it's a really cool feature. One of Stacy's coworkers at school has these, and she actually has the kids create them and they email it to them. But like, so the school has the whole code and then the teacher sends it out.
I know whenever Gilda makes them watch at home, like for classroom, they have to take a screenshot of it because they have that, and then they post that on Edmodo to show that they watched it. Do a lot of people do it or no? See, she's trying to make it in her class, she's trying to make it 90, about 90% everything online. The kids are still not doing it. We thought that they would do it. We have about 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You see all of them doing the same thing?
To America by Europeans. By Europeans were used as another Oh yeah.
I think that might have been
Okay, my turn. This exchange of plants, animals,
I like how whoever reading gets that.
Yeah.
That's how I know eventually. You want to watch it?
What do you do with and that's what I'm going We have a little over 3 minutes left. Need to have your questions answered.
And it was.
I think their strategies is going to work really well on the test. You see a lot of highlighting on the
This answer's number 3. It was like what I just read. I know, it was like the United States and the other half of the world. So I did it for it was like the connection and the other side. And if I think the second paragraph I think we should put like maybe some.
If you happen to get finished, talk about what the Columbian Exchange was exactly, like a summary.
So it was like.
So you can explain it if Mr. G and I ask you what it is.
But the other side of it, like,
But plants as well.
Are you guys going to answer? Okay, I was going to say you have a little over 2 minutes.
Very, very
and all
close.
be written
You would
down.
say it was the connection between the Americans.
All 3 questions answered.
And that side of the world, and that it brought tons of new agriculture and.
Well, that's part of it. You got to add to it.
I got
It was like a
First sentence, if that's what you want to write down. Just make sure you write that down for number 1.
Okay, Christian. Is that
Yeah. What was
Hey, I like these groups. Let's keep these groups together.
Native American
Sound.
The smallpox epidemics probably
I just put
in the largest death toll for the Native Americans. Scarcely any study on Earth's Oh wait, okay.
One minute. 1 minute.
We don't have to change.
Okay, no more change.
What was it changed? Don't say people. So what was it changed?
Well,
They were
what
saying like
did you
agriculture, like
But how
agriculture.
does that change? How does that change?
What was it?
And then to keep it up, what is this society, what do people have to do? They
Yeah,
mix,
there was a
they
lot of.
combine. Remember how the video said there was like 20 to 50 religions? Like, here you go. And then the Europeans came and that went.
30 seconds.
Oh, Europeans.
You finished?
Where are your glasses? They always forget to ask you. Where are your
It's
glasses?
in the last paragraph.
The
Yeah.
last one.
They're talking about like disease.
Oh, I
But it's
thought
also
you
talking
were
about
like,
plants.
somewhere
animals,
over
and
there? See that over
So
there?
there was good things and bad things. Remember disease and slavery. Yeah.
Somewhere. I thought they were gone.
Time's up. Hey, who wants to be the victim to answer number 1? I think I'm gonna let Mr. G pick. And then if you are the victim, you should stand right up here to be the victim to answer.
All right, Joseph's so close. I'll let Joseph do it.
Loud and proud.
Okay, so the Columbian Exchange, which was also known as the Great Exchange, was an exchange of world ecology, agriculture, and culture.
Does anyone know what ecology is?
No.
Then
The study of nature.
Ecology is basically the study of history. No, not the study of history.
that's okay.
I don't know.
Mr. G, how would you answer this?
Well, guys, use your context clues about some of the things that were exchanged, and it kind of gives us the answer. I heard AK say it before, kind of.
It's the study of like crops, plants, animals. Eco means like nature, and then ology means the study of nature.
Yep.
That would be pretty close.
That's pretty close. And if you look at the things that were exchanged, it talks about a lot about the plants and animals and the different things in nature that were exchanged. That's pretty close. Good. Margaret?
It was the enormous widespread exchange of plants, animals, foods, human populations, communal diseases, and ideas between the Eastern and Western.
Right, that would be a good addition to it. Right, victim for number 2.
I'm not into but
Okay. Victim for number 2.
And I went with a boy, so we probably should pick a girl this time. Just saying.
I'm thinking somewhere back there, just can't pick between the 2.
I'll leave it up to you.
Oh.
I know, tough choices.
Look to your left.
How about this? I've got a number between 1 and 10. What is it, Megan?
5.
5.
Maybe 3.
Okay, it was 7. So Megan,
That
was mine.
Here.
there you go.
It's my lucky number.
All right, so Megan's gonna do number 2.
What was exchange? Exchange was the exchange for food, animals, diseases, and plants.
I think we should keep it simple like that. Food.
Yeah.
What do you say? Food, animals, diseases, and plants. You have something like that, then you're good. What about number 3? Victim number 3. AK.
Okay. I only got a couple of them. Okay. How did the Columbian Exchange affect society? The Columbian Exchange is affected by society by when horses were when horses were introduced, it turned natives into nomads. When potatoes were introduced, it made the Irish potato famine. And also the chili and paprika in South America was introduced in India by the Portuguese and is today an inseparable part of the Indian cuisine.
Right, okay. That's good. We need to add a little bit to it. AK, that's really good. So AK, I'm gonna let you pick. There's 2 things that weren't necessarily good things that happened that we need to add to this list. I definitely think so. What do you think it should be?
I do too.
So you can pick AK.
I'm thinking of number 1 through 10.
No, well, you got 3 people. Just pick one.
Okay,
What's the score? Wait, what's the score?
Okay. All right, so add to it, Margaret. You can. Make sure you're paying attention. You guys are doing an awesome job.
Okay.
Up to 30 points.
Alright. It gave lots of diseases that killed many people, and then the rest of my sentence was, it gave lots of diseases, foods, and fruits and veggies and herbs.
Right, diseases is one of them. I'm looking for one that is super sad, but happens when they went to Africa or they went to the New World. Jacob. Slavery. So diseases and slavery. Make sure you add those as well.
And I just want to bring this back up. We did the mystery lesson with the rabbits, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Remember what I talked about? What happened with the rabbits in Australia?
It ate everything.
Thank you, AK, for raising your hand. What?
It ate everything.
It ate everything. So when we think about the diseases destroying things, it also, remember, some of these animals and plants that came over also destroyed things. So don't forget that as well, that we have plants here that we think are really pretty, but they were never in the United States in the first place. That hill brought them over.
Right.
As well.
Okay, what we need you to do is we need to hang on to these till tomorrow because I think we're going to run out of time. We're going to put them in your interactive notebooks tomorrow. We have one more thing that we need to start. It is a map to show you how the Columbian Exchange worked. A lot of you might already know about it because we watched the Brain Pop and you did the reading. We're probably going to not get through this today, but Mr. G is going to be the map master. So what I need you to do, let's see, number 1's in your group. Whoever number 1 is, please come up here. Whoever's number 1, come up here.
Or 3. Number 3 really wants to say something.
Maybe we'll do number 3 tomorrow.
No.
Number 3 don't do anything. Number 3 will do something. I never You never embarrass yourself. You never embarrass yourself. Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna sit down. I'm just gonna relax. Let's go rest.
Just you guys.
We're going to draw the Columbian Exchange.
All right, Mr. G is going to get it ready. He'll get ready for you.
This is like.
All right.
That would make me so.
Class.
Yes.
Think about points. Yeah, I turned them off for the classes. All right, Mr. He's gonna lead this section. Make sure
All
you're
right.
paying attention because he is the map master.
Hopefully. So, the first thing that I want us to do is to label our continents. Okay? So we are going to start up here with this guy. Who is this, Ben?
Europe.
Europe. Excellent. So make sure you're all labeling it. If you're looking at your sheet and it's Columbian Exchange at the top, Europe is going to be on the top right. So make sure we are labeling our continents.
Oh. You have a question? Okay. I think they're both answering.
Okay. Next, Megan, what would this continent be down? Africa. Excellent.
Got it.
And I wrote mine going up the side, I apologize, but it's Africa, as long as you all have it in your sheet. All right. In the reading, it used the term Old World and New World. Can anybody tell me what Europe, Africa, and if you're all the way over here, Asia would be considered? It would be called the, Elizabeth?
Old world?
That is the Old World. So up the side, all the way across, African Asia. Can anybody tell me at least why a little bit it's called the Old World? Josh?
I think it was because it was the, the first one to, I don't know, just say have, have more advanced over.
Close, yes.
Vegetables, stuff, or basically like, and I think the first settlements, one of the few first settlements were there.
It is part of the oldest part of the world. That is very, very true.
Have older culture.
Older culture, yep. Elizabeth, add on to that. Very good, Josh.
Where humans first started building societies.
Yeah. Who did the naming? Did the people on Europe and Africa do the naming, or did the people in South America and North America do the naming? Margaret?
The North America,
Oh, that side.
This side. Because they did the discovering and they named everything. They call themselves the Old World. So let's slide on over to this side of the map.
And I was gonna say, whenever you have all the explorers coming over, did they say, where I'm gonna go discover the New World? So that's how you can remember Old World, New World.
So what continent is this? Jacob Edwards?
North America.
North America.
Can we put USA?
I would like you to put North America because at this time, it's still, we're talking about the Columbian Exchange, it wasn't the United States yet, it was North America.
And you have to include Canada as well, so North America.
So is that how Great Britain, so they colonized America like that, so, so that's when they colonized it?
And then we had to fight.
And then what is our first,
Make
what
sure
is
you
our-
guys raise your hands if you have questions.
what is our continent down here, Lindley?
South America.
South America, excellent. Very good. And collectively, North America and South America was called what? Aaron? This is the New World. Very good. So I'm going to start up here. I'm going to work our way down. New World. Going across the side.
Right. Exactly.
So far, your maps look awesome. And next, can somebody tell me what body of water this is in the middle? Gabby? Not Pacific. The Atlantic Ocean.
It's hard to remember. Georgia's about right here. And we live right outside of Atlanta. So that's how I remember.
Atlantic.
Exactly.
So, now let's start doing some arrows. We only need two. Which country first started exploring the New World? Which was the very first country to do it? Joseph?
Europe.
What country in Europe? Europe is a continent. What country? What? Not England. Jacob Martini?
Spain.
Spain. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our arrow from right here in Spain, and we are going to go all the way over. And I'm going to make mine kind of.
Here, can you do marker?
No, it's fine. And there's our first arrow. Okay? So Spain goes to explore the North and South America, or as they call it, the New World. But it's not an exchange if things don't travel. So things went this way, but to make it an exchange, things need to come this way, so it comes back. 2 minutes, okay? So, now we have exchange because things are going both ways. So, we are going to start off with the 2 or 3 major things that come from each area, and then we might run out of time, so hopefully we have enough.
And if we do, can you hold on to this till tomorrow? Don't lose it.
So,
I think they all know this too.
I think they know this as well, so I'm not
They've
going
paid
to
attention.
So, let's start off with just the important stuff, and hopefully tomorrow we'll get to some of the other things that went. What is one thing that came from Europe and went to the Americas? Nadia?
Coffee.
What?
Coffee.
Let's talk about the important. Coffee is one, but there we talked about 2 major things, and really for coming from Europe, they're not necessarily the best. Remember one of them?
Oh yeah, the 2 negative.
2 negative things.
They're 2 negative things.
I'll go back to Nadia for one of them.
What do you think?
Diseases is one, so we're going to put a star next to diseases.
It was one more.
Because it's one of the important things we need to do. There's one more thing that is not good. Lindsay?
Slavery. Okay, bye guys. Keep on. Keep a hold of this and we'll finish tomorrow. Awesome job. Bye.